Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy, with a book review. I guess I would call it a review. It's just more about the book. I did finish it recently, and it's by this gal right here, Kate Weatherup. It is a self-published book from 2006. She keeps it focused on kind of what you can do for yourself. It's kind of a nice introductory book regarding shamanism, in the sense of, a nice introductory book for contemporary shamanism. Not about what shamanism has been historically and culturally, across the eons, that sort of thing. But for somebody who's heard about it, maybe has heard of people having shamanic treatments or soul retrieval or goodness knows what, has heard other people, and they're just wondering about it. She does live in San Diego, California, so it's more likely out there that people would have heard about it. And it may be something that that she had written to give to people, whether for educational purposes, if she was holding workshops, or even potential clients, because part of the book, the early part of the book, talks about some of the reservations that she has experienced from people, whether teaching them about shamanism or people that she is potentially going to do some work with. So what I liked is she kind of combines, and I think this is going to be true of anybody who's talking about contemporary shamanism. They're going to be bringing in some of their background, and she clearly had a background with energy work and a certain spiritual assumptions and approaches before coming to shamanism, and that comes out in the book. And so there may be things that you would agree with or not agree with in terms of what is done shamanically. And of course there are a lot of different traditions in terms of shamanism as well. So she has chapter 10, Energetic Healing in Shamanic Reality. So, there is a lot of crossover here between shamanism and energy work. She talks about power animals. One thing I found really interesting, she talks about past life work, ancestors, cutting cords. I found that interesting. But also the idea of contracts and oaths that you may have engaged in a prior life that are holding over onto this life. So I found that very interesting. She has a chapter on shadow work and soul retrieval. So several pages, 2, 4, 5 pages dedicated to shadow work, and 4, 6, 7 pages devoted to soul retrieval. So it's kind of an overview. She shares some of her experiences, her personal experiences, journeying. And what does she have in the early part of the book? Power animals, of course, dancing your power animal. And this is shamanic fears. In other words, this is where, so she has a whole chapter where she talks about the various fears she's encountered from people in regards to shamanism. She talks about ethics. She talks about lessons. Well, she says lessons for working with others, and it's pretty much make sure you have your own stuff dealt with first, and that you're comfortable with what you're doing. Shamanic perspective on illness and death. Right alignment and energetic boundaries. So it's a lot of, I found it interesting and worthwhile, easy to read. And she talked about something in here that she calls her sacred garden, which I may have heard one other person on YouTube kind of allude to, and I had never heard of that before, and it's an interesting idea. I don't know if I will try to sort of discover or establish that kind of a place myself for when I'm journeying. She talks a heck of a lot more about guides than I had heard previous people talk about in terms of shamanism. And I'm not talking power animals, I'm talking other kind of spirit guides. So, yeah. So there it is. Katie Weatherup, Practical Shamanism. So, I got it from Amazon. I think I must have gotten it. Yep, must have gotten it used with this tag here. I'm sure it was not very expensive. So if this is something that you're curious about, it's something to consider. Since it's self-published, I'm not sure if it will be available outside of the U.S. All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.